This is one of my favorite games of all time. I started playing this game when I was about 10 years old, and I never really made it past the first couple dungeon levels. I would just run around and fight everything I saw. Maybe I'd run away if I reached low health, but usually by then it's too late in NetHack. This little green thing is a lichen, early level monster. I somehow tamed it. I think I stepped on that magic trap. This game has been in development for almost 40 years. It was inspired by Hack and Rogue before that, and it is very complete. They just want to make it harder. So we're on the first dungeon level. We're playing a ranger, and I'm named Frodo. If you're just starting out, you want to start out as a Valkyrie, because they start out with good armor, good stats, and a longsword, which you can dip in fountains for Excalibur. We jump forward a little bit here, and now we're down on the third dungeon level, and we found ourselves a co-aligned altar. Alignment works simply in NetHack. You're either lawful, neutral, or chaotic, and we're sacrificing monsters on it in the hopes of getting an artifact weapon, because having a powerful artifact weapon is a total game changer in this. It will drastically increase your chances of survival. An object appears at your feet. The voice booms out. Use my gift wisely. Mjollnir. Mjollnir is my favorite weapon in this game. It's a warhammer. It's one-handed. It does lightning damage. You could throw it at monsters and it'll come back to you as long as you have gauntlets of power. And if you're Valkyrie, it always comes back. Jumping forward, we're at our quest now. This is around dungeon level 14 or so. You sense pleading nearby, something like that. When you get this message, you're going to want to look for a portal. I'm looking through my inventory right now. Very filled out. I've got an Amulet of Reflection, which sends back beams of death and magic missile, that sort of thing. I've got great armor, great dragon scale mail. That'll give me magic resistance. I've got wands of teleport. Zap those at monsters you want to send somewhere else. I just put everything into my bag of holding, which bag of holding reduces weight. And if it's blessed, it reduces it by a lot. If it's cursed, it actually increases the weight of it. So this starts to introduce you to BUC status, blessed, uncursed, cursed. In NetHack, every item can be one of those statuses, and it affects how the item interacts with the rest of the dungeon. Certain cursed items, if you use them, it doesn't really matter. But other cursed items, like a cursed scroll of genocide, for instance, instead of destroying all of the monsters of that type, it'll actually summon a bunch of those monsters around you. So if you want to get rid of mind flayers, for instance, and you decide to just read it without checking the status, then you may end up with a bunch of mind flayers around you, which is definitely an instant death, or close to it at least. But where this largely comes into play is with your armor and weapons. Any armor you pick up or weapons might be cursed, and you won't know the status when you pick it up. So don't put on armor you just find. You gotta identify it first. Right now, I just drink a smoky potion, which has a very small chance of having a genie appear, which may grant you a wish, or it may attack you. This one granted me a wish. This is one of the coolest parts of this whole game. Basically, you can wish for almost anything. You can get dragon scale mail, you can get boots of speed, you can get gauntlets of power, you can get an artifact weapon. I opted for scrolls of blessed genocide, which wipe out an entire class of monsters, and I wiped out sea monsters, which is the semicolon, because they populate a lot of the water, and eels can grab you, drag you in, and drown you, which is an instant death. About halfway through the dungeon, there is a massive castle that is guaranteed to have a wand of wishing that can give you many wishes, which is used to fill out your ascension kit, as it's called, which is basically just some critical items that you want to have before you try and ascend, that this wand will greatly help you if you can make it to it. To make it to the castle, one of your most important tools is something that you have all the time, and that is the power word Elbereth. When spelled exactly like this, written into the ground either in the dust with your finger or engraved with a wand of digging, fire, or lightning, it will grant you a sanctuary from monsters. Many monsters who respect Elbereth will not attack you and instead will flee if you stand on this square. Frodo calls out Elbereth while on Weathertop, and Aragorn refers to her name as deadly to the Nazgul. It should be your first tool if you start to get worried that a monster is going to kill you. You'll know you're getting close to the castle when you reach a giant water level. This is Medusa's Island and has a variety of appearances, but your goal here is to not get stoned by Medusa by wearing a blindfold or having reflection. Beneath the castle is the entrance to Gehennom. This is the endgame. It is a land filled with fire and demons, and before you come here, you absolutely want to be ready with proper armor, weapons, and resistances. Resistances in NetHack are extremely cool. They are permanent, and you get them from a variety of sources, but primarily you get them from eating other monsters that have those resistances. You don't need to cook them, maybe your guy does. You just eat them off the ground. Just don't wait too long, otherwise they will make you sick. And if they're poisonous, they will reduce your strength unless you have poison resistance. Also, don't cannibalize or eat the undead. Notice when I walk into the room here, I step on a fire trap that doesn't hurt me because of my fire resistance. There are a lot of these in Gehennom. These are all the resistances I have. Primarily, you want reflection, magic resistance, poison resistance, and then fire resistance before you get to Gehennom. At the bottom of Gehennom, after fighting your way through a bunch of demon princes and a few demon lords, you will seek out what is called the Amulet of Yendor. This is a powerful artifact coveted by your god, which if you return to your god with it, he will give you immortality. Currently I'm fighting the demon lord Yenogu, which was summoned by chance by another demon attacking me. This is called demon gating, and it can happen when any demon attacks you, potentially summoning another demon or one of the demon lords, which is Jubilex, Yenogu, Geryon Tispater, and the dreaded Demogorgon. The strategy when fighting any of the demon princes is to find a down staircase, get them to follow you until they're right next to you, go down the stairs. This will lead you to being on the up staircase, which is how they typically will escape, is they will teleport away from you onto the up staircase and sit there and wait to heal up, and if you attack them on it, they'll just flee up the stairs. So if you're standing on the up staircase, they can't flee, and you can stand there and just whack them until they die. So I'm waiting for him to appear. I go downstairs, he follows me and he's next to me, and I just destroy him with Mjollnir. So we're back on level 13. I again sense Orion pleading for help. This is my quest level. I waited until I had better gear to come back here. I don't really remember why. And find my quest leader. I might not have been a high enough XP level. Yeah, that's probably it. If you look at my XP at the bottom, I'm level 14. That's the minimum level to come and do your quest. Otherwise, your quest leader will just kick you out as soon as you talk to him. And if you change your alignment, your quest leader will also refuse to talk to you. So don't change your alignment unless you finish your quest. At the bottom, you will find a quest nemesis, which you fight to get the Bell of Opening, which is used in a ritual at the bottom of Gehennom to retrieve the amulet. You are indeed ready, Frodo. Recover the longbow of Diana for us, Frodo. In addition to the Bell of Opening, each role has a unique artifact that they will receive for completing their quest, usually equipped by the quest nemesis. So these are powerful artifact weapons or utility artifacts. And the longbow of Diana grants telepathy when carried in your inventory, which allows you to see monsters when you're blind, as well as reflection when wielded, which we discussed earlier as being very critical for Ascension. It's generally smart to keep your potions and your scrolls in a bag. It doesn't have to be a bag of holding, because it protects it from being burned or wiped clean by water or being stolen. I found a figurine of a Mordorg on the ground. If you apply these, it will generate a monster that has a chance of being peaceful. This must be the Cave of the Wumpus.
I can smell the evil Wumpus nearby.
This particular quest seems to have multiple enemies, the Wumpus and Scorpius. You probably noticed there are lots of centaurs on this quest, and they can be generated with wands, including the deadly Wand of Death, which you see in a black beam right there. If this hits you without reflection, you will die instantly. If you have an Amulet of Life Saving, they'll probably just shoot you again. So before you come here, you need reflection. I don't have a Wand of Death yet, so I try to kill the centaur with a Wand of Lightning. I shoot twice, he shoots me again, which kills all the centaurs behind me, and so I just walk up to it and use my Mjollnir. If you happen to be lucky enough to see a monster with a Wand of Death while having reflection, your goal is to get it away from them with them using as few charges as possible. So I finish off the rest of these centaurs, loot their corpses of all their wands. One disadvantage of using Mjollnir is that the lightning attacks, especially when you throw it, has a chance of exploding wands and rings. It's kind of a low chance, but it definitely has happened to me. So you want to keep your critical wands like Wands of Death, Wands of Polymorph, in a bag. Is that the evil Wumpus? Nope, just a regular Wumpus. So I've enchanted my daggers, and as long as they're the same enchantment, they will be in a stack. And as a ranger, you have a multi-shot with daggers, so I threw a bunch in just a single turn and killed that Wumpus. So I'm about to pick up a potion of blindness, which is pretty useless, and I dip my unicorn horn into it. Unicorn horns neutralize most harmful potions, and when you apply unicorn horn, it removes negative statuses. You descend into a weird place. Off in the distance, you hear a sound like the clattering of hooves. We have entered the lair of Scorpius. Scorpius, like all nemesis, is asleep until a centaur shoots him in the back, and apparently this was enough to make him flee to the staircase. Quest nemesis are similar to demon princes and lords. So, Hobbit, Orion has sent you to recover the longbow of Diana. Well, I shall keep that bauble. It pleases me. You, Hobbit, shall die. So Scorpius teleports back to me. You can see him top right of me. I hit him with my hammer. He teleports away again. Similar to Inogu, who I fought earlier. Constantly teleporting around, smacking me and running away. And Scorpius can actually poison you, which makes you terminally ill, and if you don't do anything, you'll die in a few turns. Centaurs, all kinds of wands. This one blasts a wand of death at me. It misses, blows apart the door, and in the same turn, Scorpius teleports to me and stings me with his poison sting. Back again, eh? Well, a mere scout is no threat to me. Die, Frodo. So, you can either drink a potion of healing, pray to your god, and hope that he heals you, or apply your unicorn horn to get rid of the terminal illness, which is what I did. Back again, eh? So I zapped him with a wand of death, and he died. Most quest nemesises are vulnerable to wands of death. As you pick up the longbow of Diana, it seems to glow, and a warmth fills you completely. Many of the rest of the monsters in the dungeon, demon princes, and the wizard of Yendor himself, can be killed with a wand of death. So you want to save as many charges as possible. In fact, one of the demon princes, Orcus, who has a whole town of cursed shops filled with mimics, is guaranteed to have a wand of death. So if you're smart, you can get it from him with as many charges as possible. Frodo, you have succeeded. I feared it was not possible. You have returned the longbow of Diana. Frodo, long time no see. Where's the amulet? I drink another full potion of healing, and I chance upon another friendly genie who grants me a second wish. At this point, there's not really much else I need, but you can always use another wish. I decide to try and wish for the Orb of Fate, which is the quest artifact from the Valkyrie, which reduces all damage dealt to you. It is a lawful aligned artifact, so I do get blasted by its power, being neutral. So the orb has two primary functions. When you carry it, it gives you half damage, which is incredible protection, but also when you invoke it, you can use it to teleport around the dungeon, which means instant travel to your stash. Normally the only way to travel between different levels of the dungeon is a cursed scroll of teleport, which actually teleports you between levels, and if you don't have teleport control, it'll be random, so you want teleport control. Even if you're using the Orb of Fate, you want teleport control before you invoke it. And before reaching Orcus, we have 3 Wands of Death.